Transparency is apparently a part-time virtue. The left wants to see Trump's tax returns, his medical history, his golf handicap. They want to see cell phone records from House and Senate members, Republicans, that is, not all of them, just Republicans, but not Biden's cognitive condition. Joe Biden is suing DOJ to stop the release of audio and video files from his interview with a ghostwriter. I think the ghost actually wrote most of the book and apparently prepped him for his debate, too. Here's former First Lady Jill Biden on what was likely the worst debate performance in the history of humankind.
I was frightened because I had never, ever seen Joe like that before or since. Never.
Or since.
Yes. Or since.
What happened?
I don't know what happened. I mean, as I watched it, I thought, oh my God, he's having a stroke. And it scared me to death.
You were frightened. Imagine what the rest of us felt like. And by the way, I'm pretty sure you and others were actually encouraging him to run despite his inability to stand trial or actually complete a lucid sentence. How can you be incompetent to stand trial, but yet competent to be president and actually pick the judges that would preside over the trial? Joining us now is chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Ohio Congressman. He's been the world champion wrestler more than Ric Flair, Jimmy Gordon. How are you, Mr. Chairman? If Joe
Trey. Good to be with you.
Was lucid, you too, brother. If Joe Biden was lucid enough to clear out death row, why can't we listen to his interview with the ghostwriter?
No, it doesn't make sense. And look, I think in some ways, Jill Biden's just being like any spouse. She's trying to have it both ways. She's trying to say, oh, he was just fine, although that debate was so bad, I thought he was having a stroke. But he was fine afterwards. I think she even said in that interview they went to 2 other events that same evening, and he was great. So she's trying to have it. The country saw it. They not only saw it that night, which, as you said, I think was maybe the worst debate performance I've ever seen. You know, and it was kind of sad, frankly, when you're watching it. Like, this is our commander-in-chief, this is our president, and this is his mental state right now. That was a concern, but there were also, as you point out, some humorous. You mentioned President Trump's handicap. I remember the line that I thought was so funny was when Joe Biden said he was an 8 handicap, and the president looked at him like, "Are you?" He goes, "I think he said, are you kidding me? I've seen your swing. There's no way you're an 8 handicap." So, yeah, I think the First Lady's trying to have it every way she possibly can. And oh, by the way, probably trying to sell some books, which, by the way, was the reason that Joe Biden was talking to the guy, Mr. Zwanitzer, who we want the tapes of. We want that conversation. We want those tapes. He was talking to him because he was trying to sell books. He had 8 million reasons to keep classified documents, and it was the $8 million advance he got after being vice president. That's why he kept those documents, so he would be able to write that book. We want the conversations between him and the ghostwriter who actually wrote the book.
You know, Jimmy, in Biden's defense, I think there is an 8 in his handicap. I just think there's a 2 or a 3 in front of the 8. I think he just got confused. There is an 8 in it. It just may be 28. All right. You have done a remarkable job of making sure nobody knows that you actually went to law school. But I know that you did. So I'm going to ask you a legal question. Is there any legal argument that if he was not of sound mind, some of his decisions and actions, like clearing out death row, could be void ab initio?
No, there's no legal argument against it. And frankly, there's no legal argument for them to prevent us from getting access to these tapes, which we've been trying to do for 2 years. And I think the key is, remember, and you know this, Trey, we have authority over the law and the special counsel law. Well, on one hand, you had Jack Smith, who said, we're going to charge President Trump. We think he mishandled classified documents. And then you had Robert Hur, who said, we're not going to charge Joe Biden, even though we know he did. He admits that in his report. We're not going to charge him because he's an older gentleman who will appear sympathetic to a jury because he can't remember anything. So maybe we need to fix the special counsel law. And never forget, Mr. Zwanitzer, the guy who wrote this book, he tried to destroy the evidence. He tried to destroy the tapes, and we actually held him in contempt. Our committee did. So I don't think there's any reason why they're going to court and trying to stop us from getting access to the best information for the American people and the best information for the United States Congress to have at our disposal when we may want to change how the special counsel statute and the special counsel law actually operate. So I do think when you step back, that's the big difference here. President Trump, who is as sharp as could be, same age as Joe Biden, but his health is in great condition and his mental acuity is as strong as ever, versus Joe Biden, and they were treated differently because of that. I don't know that that makes sense. And again, it's one of the reasons I think it's important we get this information.
All right, Chairman, here was Jill Biden's original reaction to the debate, and then I'll ask you about it on the other side.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the
Chairman, he was unfit to run. Anyone with a set of eyeballs watched that during the debate. In fact, they pulled the plug on his run only because it was clear he was going to lose. It wasn't because he had an awful debate performance. They knew he was going to lose, therefore they kicked him to the curb.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And understand that I always say the left has a template, Trey. The left will tell a lie. And again, for 4 years, one of the lies they tell us many lies, but one of the lies they told us was Joe Biden's just fine. So the left will tell a lie. Big media will report the lie. Big tech will then amplify the lie. And when you tell the truth, they call you names. And anytime anyone called out this particular lie, Joe Biden's not fit for office, we don't know if he's sharp enough, his mental acuity. Well, anytime someone, oh, you got attacked by the left, until they finally realize after this debate performance, we can no longer stick with this lie. We're going to have to throw him to the curb and bring someone else in. But that is typical operating procedure. You can pick whatever issue it is. The left will tell a lie. Big media reports it. Big tech amplifies it. You tell the truth. They call you names. And eventually our position will be proven accurate, and then they'll move on to the next lie. Didn't work here for President Biden because there was that debate performance where the whole country could see for themselves.
Well, Jimmy, I know you were tenacious. I know you were not going to let go. If you get a chance to talk to the ghost that helped him write the book, let me know. In the meantime, I want you to get the audio and video so we can see what the president was really like. I wonder if some of those decisions were made by a lucid man. Chairman Jimmy Jordan from the great state of Ohio, please give your lovely wife Polly our best and take care.
You bet. Same to you, Trey. Thanks.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.